everybody. This is the Baptist
And the Buddhist.
with Mark,
And Brian.
and you are listening to a brand new episode, which I have no idea what season or episode we're on, but you are listening to it now.
The first episode of 2023.
2023. We've been on a long hiatus, guys, and that was on purpose, accidentally. No, I don't even know, but
I think
we
we were
are.
just way too busy in life.
Yeah, you guys are not our top priority, but we love you and thank you for listening and watching.
Yes, we can't make a living off of this, so
And we don't want to be honest. So
no.
we just want to talk. We just want you guys to listen to our private conversations.
We just want you we just want to feel like you've wiretapped our house.
Yeah, we're like we really want to be wiretapped. Did you hear that, NSA? No. Oh man, yeah, it's been a while, Brian, and like we haven't even spoken since our last episode. Just kidding. We talk all the time, guys. We just don't record those private conversations. But for your sakes, we are recording finally this episode. In the interim, we did do a live episode together when we were together. That was like
Oh
in the
yeah.
fall.
We were in that room that you were in.
Right here, yep. And man,
I was
what else?
there.
I think we also did a podcast on we released a recorded episode from another podcast that we were guests on. I know I delayed a long time in posting the audio portion of that because I was too busy and forgot. But now we're back, hopefully with regular updates. But I wanted to or regular episodes, but I wanted to do an update real quick.
Hey, what's up with us? You know, how have we been? I'm
What's
sure
up with
you
you?
are all wondering how we've been doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know I have. So, man, what I don't even remember where we left off last time in life.
October.
October, yeah, with our live stuff, man. A lot has changed, and I have to say, I'm not going to go into great detail, but a lot has changed on my end. We left our church under some circumstances that aren't necessarily like doctrinal belief kind of things. Some of it is kind of, yeah, we don't like that. Some of it was more behavioral and ethical. And it just wasn't a good spot for us um, at, at, at that, at those crossroads. We were like, yeah, we got to get out of here. And I'm not trying to knock anyone over there specifically at this point in time, but or knock anything that was necessarily um presented or being done. But there were things that were questionable, so we left. So right now we are church homeless. We are kind of just a wandering pilgrim looking for a new church. We've tried out a few. We have a list going down the line, and uh, you guys might be questioning my identity at this point because this is the Baptist and the Buddhist. And to be honest, some of these churches aren't even Baptist churches. What? Um, but it shouldn't really come to a surprise as much as a surprise to you guys if you really know if you heard most of our episodes that the Baptist term is kind of a loose term for me because I'm weird. I don't fit into a cookie cutter version of this or that. I consider myself a grace believer or like a dispensationalist, but like a lot of Baptist churches are dispensational in merit, anyways. They just don't know it, um, or they do and they just don't identify it or use that term, anyways. So yeah, Baptist and non-Baptist churches alike, we've been hitting them up, and hopefully one of them will be our home. I mean, and really at the surface, that's all I'm going to say at this point because it could be another podcast in itself. So, uh,
Stay tuned. Watch this space.
So yeah, man, it's been a wild, crazy ride. Um,
I
we've
bet.
I think I've changed, and honestly, I've changed my stance on a few things. Not like significant, like earth shattering things, but
Like we don't have to go back a few episodes and edit something.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah, not that much. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's where it's at. Any questions?
For me, I don't know because I know much more than what you're telling the audience, and it has been a wild ride. You know, even just vicariously living that adventure through him, I've just been like, wow, all of this is happening. It's been
Yeah. And you know, even through
tumultuous.
my text updates to you, like even if it's a paragraph, like I probably can't even fully hint at like the impact or the extreme of some of the situation, like some of the pieces, like wow, this happened, and like you probably were like, wow, that's crazy, but like I don't know, being in it real time has been almost surreal to me, and really some things have been. I don't want to say like I don't want to say that I escaped a bad place, but it has been very liberating in some portions, and it has been very um, burden lifting, really, and like on many facets. But that it's a personal journey. My family and I are having this journey, and really it's not tailor made for like I wouldn't go to everyone in that church and say, hey, leave the church because of this, get out now, because it wouldn't be right to do that, because this is our journey that we're having, and it just so happened to work out this way. And I mean, I have to be honest, it has been affecting other families too. So I just heard of another family that made that decision today to leave. I didn't even tell you that
No, that's
yet.
news
So,
to me too.
yep, one of the
Wow.
other families. Yep. So it's been a wild ride, and I'm sure somewhere, somehow, you guys will probably get maybe filled in. If you have any questions or concerns, you can reach out to me, Baptist and Buddhist at gmail.com. Just say, hey, Mark, what's going on? I can probably give you a little more detail or whatnot if you are really concerned, or if you know me personally, reach out social media or whatever, um, and let me know, because you know this, if you know me and you're this is the first time you're hearing this, it's like, whoa, what in the world, I'm concerned. So yeah, just reach out to me. And you know, for this podcast, again, as I give us a plug, Baptist and Buddhist at gmail.com. Hit us up on any social media site, any podcast apps, give us a review, YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification bell, smash that like button or whatever, the subscribe button.
It,
But
yeah, it doesn't. Whatever you want to email us or message us or anything doesn't have to pertain to this particular
no,
topic
definitely
either.
no. If you want to hear something from us in general, or hear an episode, or even come on the show, we can make it happen.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yep. Anything from your side, Brian? What's going on?
Oh man. I mean, there's not a whole lot, especially like in the Buddhist aspect of my life happening too much. At the end of April, I'm going on a 2 week retreat. It's my first like really long retreat, so I'm sure we'll talk about that when I come back from that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's I think it's gonna be really cool. It's a Theravada monastery that I'm going to, so I feel like that's gonna be really beneficial for me since I come from a Theravada standpoint much more than anything else. And like I go to a Vajrayana, like a Tibetan uh, center, and like I'm a member of that, but my practice isn't that. So it's gonna be really cool to be able to actually like physically in person immerse myself in a Theravada kind of environment. Uh, yeah, that's really like the big, very immediate changes or whatever.
Yeah, that's
Um,
interesting. When you mention like you attend a different like tradition and you're gonna immerse yourself in this different one that maybe you more or less practice more of this tradition versus what you attend. That would be really interesting to get a perspective, uh, like differences on that. And I know we've talked about that before on the show, but that's really interesting. That kind of reminds me of my experience.
yeah,
For leaving a Baptist church, and I'm the Baptist, but I'm not gonna stick a label like that on me. And seeing some of these other uh, different churches, they have different ways of doing things, and especially coming from like a dispensational point of view, like grace believer that my previous church taught, and going into a church that doesn't, because we don't have a whole lot of them out there anyways. It's you have to immerse yourself and like kind of get used to the way of doing that, um, even though that's not necessarily the way I like quote unquote practice my Christianity. But I mean, I mean, according to the Bible, we're all on the same level playing field. And I'm not gonna throw a ton of judgment out there just because they believe the church started at Pentecost versus with the ministry of Paul. So yeah,
yeah, that's
seeing the differences, that could be an interesting challenge, if you will, or like even you regularly attending some like a tradition that you don't necessarily practice. It's a good way to flex your or use your flexibility.
yeah, yeah. Because like, I've been going to my temple for like almost 9 years,
Wow.
and that was where I learned about Buddhism. But that wasn't where I stopped learning about Buddhism. I just consumed a ton of different like Buddhist books and podcasts and stuff in my first few years, and
Hmm.
like exposed myself to the Theravada um, approach, which I found much more almost like much more palatable or much more digestible for me. And but we don't have anything like that around here, so
Hmm.
I'm not stuck going to a Tibetan center. Um, but it's sometimes there is this kind of like almost ecumenical whiplash. My private practice and study and stuff, and then I go and experience a much different approach. There's more chanting. There's all these bodhisattvas, and Theravada just doesn't have that. And it's like, whoa,
Hmm.
oh yeah, this is interesting, and like just the different way, the different emphasis on things in
Hmm.
Theravada. It's really noble eightfold path. Read the Pali Suttas. Um, in the Tibetan tradition, there's a lot of mantras and mudras and
Hmm.
uh, visualization and chanting, and it's all based in a different language too. So it's like this is almost foreign to me, even though I've been
Wow.
coming here for almost 9 years.
Wow.
Uh,
And one thing that uh, kind of goes along those same lines is like coming out of a church that's a little more traditional. We sing hymns out of a hymnal, very, uh, we don't make a big show out of it. And it's almost spoken against making a show out of it,
hmm,
in terms of what they think making a show out of it would be. And we were under um, the directive that, you know, they're wrong and we're right. And I always, thought to myself, like, well, we got to give them a little more grace than that. And then, like, finally making a painful yet liberating withdrawal out of that environment has really, like just coming into a congregation that's, they're believers, that they're of the same mind. They might not approach the Bible exactly how I want them to, but they're still part of the body of Christ. And like it's just refreshing seeing like, wow, I can still fellowship with these people and seeing their ways of worshiping, like just going from one Baptist church to another, like wow, they do things differently here. And then today I was at a place they had lights and fog machines and the worship band with drums and the no electric guitars, but it was like acoustic and bass and everything. It's like wow, this is different, but like refreshing. I'm not gonna stick my nose up at everything that I we run across because we're searching, we're pilgriming. So it's it's refreshing and like whiplashy at the same time.
Yeah.
Ecumenical whiplash.
Yeah. Um, yeah, because like in Buddhism, all paths of Buddhism are considered dharma.
Mm,
Even though some, like sometimes like a uh Vajrayana perspective, sometimes you get these, like, especially if you're really familiar with Theravada, they refer, like, I don't know if Mahayana does it as much, but Vajrayana will refer to the Theravada tradition as Hinayana, which is almost derogatory because it means lesser vehicle. Hinayana is lesser, Mahayana is greater, and Vajrayana is the diamond cutting vehicle. It's like
mm,
this is fast tracking the Dharma to enlightenment. Hinayana still gets you there, but it takes many, many, many lifetimes. And sometimes, uh, I laugh about it, and uh, but you know,
diamond cutting machine.
especially the the monastics of every tradition views each other equally. Theravada monks will stay at Mahayana temples
Mm,
and vice versa. Um, and even like lay practitioners like me, like I have a friend who is part of my temple, and he was in, I think, Washington D.C., and is like, hey, I found a place to practice. It's the oldest Theravada temple in America. And
wow.
it's like you can still find a Dharma home in whatever kind of temple, that
Mm,
whatever kind of Buddhist temple. So it's like we're all part of the same family. We're a little different, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we my old church that I left, we like as missionaries came through, even some like preachers that aren't necessarily Baptist, but like maybe Grace or like out of some like unnamed like Bible church, like you'd let them in, and that was always cool to see. But as we were getting to the end of our tenure at the church, they started to, calling people that didn't rightly divide the Bible, where we divide them, um, reprobates and apostates, basically. And I was like, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And, I could see why they were saying that. But, like, as part of the body of Christ, like, calling them that extreme, it just doesn't fit with me. It
hmm.
doesn't fit with what I understand grace and uh charity from the Bible, from what even Paul talks about. Like it just doesn't fit with me to call upon them, our brothers, as that harshly. Now there are times to call upon our brothers harshly, um even in doctrinal manners, but when it comes to calling them reprobates and downcasting them for that, it's just, I don't know, it wasn't tasteful in my opinion.
Hmm.
But who am I but a layman?
I feel like fortunate that I've I found the temple that I go to, because it's technically considered a non-sectarian Tibetan temple. So like we get
Hmm.
tons of, or before the pandemic when we had a ton of teachers from all over the country and world and stuff coming, we would get a bunch of different Tibetan traditions, but we would also have a Zen a Zen teacher come by like one or two times a year. We had a Theravada uh, teacher come couple, you know, once every 2 years or something. So we try to remain like we are non-sectarian, sometimes mainly leaning into Tibetan teachings, uh, but we've seen it all, I think, and
Wow.
I think it's fortunate that we can have that, but I also think it's almost inevitable in not just Buddhism but Western Buddhism, where it's much more unrooted in a way, where it's like unless it's a very specific establishment following a very specific tradition, Western Buddhism uh, and secular Buddhism, which is a thing, uh, opens its doors to most any Buddhism.
Man. Well, um, seeing all these contrasting and like trying to fit in or at least shake hands together kind of is a good segue into like what we kind of wanted to talk about in this episode, which was something awesome and fun that Brian and I were able to do over the fall when he was here. And it's something we've been planning for a long time, and we were just like, we have to do this.
Yeah,
We just have to do it.
if you're a follower of the podcast, you probably know what we're talking about on our YouTube
Yep.
channel.
Yep. And maybe you just don't know for some reason.
Yeah,
But if you go to YouTube right now, stop this podcast and look this up because spoilers are impending as we speak. Like this is your official spoiler alert. Before you continue, go to Baptist and Buddhist on YouTube and find the video that says something crazy like Baptist destroys Buddhists in humiliating debate or whatever it is. It's one of our latest videos at this time of our recording. And here I'm actually gonna pull it up real quick
we
on
could,
my side.
or I'll just edit it in right now.
It's a great idea. Okay, let's see, Baptist and Buddhist. Then so the Baptist and the Buddhist on YouTube, there's Christian destroys Buddhist in embarrassing, devastating debate. And there's a crazy picture of a Buddhist yelling and a Baptist Bible bashing. And it's just great. It's a 6 minute long video of how this podcast started. No,
If you if you search in YouTube Christian destroys Buddhist, we're the third one.
oh my goodness, yes,
Wait, why did it? Oh yeah, it's right there.
dude,
So,
yes.
should we explain kind of what this concept is of
Yeah,
this?
so as I said, this is like raw footage of the origin of the podcast. No. Oh man. So like why did we even do that video? Like what is this video about?
So, for me, I think the inspiration for it was, we have Baptist and the Buddhist, and we have this interfaith dialogue going on. But you know what? I see more than that, because that is not exciting YouTube stuff. What I see most is these contentious, fiery debates with hundreds of people commenting, thousands of views.
Juicy.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's what people want. They want conflict. And
Hmm. And they want
and
one side to be like whatever side you're coming into to listen to, you want that to be right.
and
And the other person can be destroyed.
I've heard, famed re- like religious scholars saying like interfaith dialogue doesn't work because you're never going to convince the other person you're right. And it's like, how, as a religion scholar, do you think that's what interfaith dialogue is?
It's not about convincing.
It's
From
not.
my limited interfaith dialogue knowledge, we're not here to convince each other.
Mm-mm.
We're here to at least talk so we don't rip our throats out, each other's throats out, not my own throat out, because my throat is right.
We're yeah, we're here to like learn, like in any interfaith dialogue encounter, but especially this one. We're here to learn what the other person believes
Mm-hmm.
without an ulterior motive of convincing the other person. Which some people, like the famed religion scholar, says if you truly believe what you believe is right and real, you have to convince the other person, and you have to continue until you just can't anymore, because that's the most important, most highest topic of debate and convincement that needs to be addressed. You're talking about a, a bigger picture, wider, universal, consequences. How can you not argue with someone of a different faith and try to convince them? And that's not how the real world works in
Yeah, I mean,
conversation.
even in Christianity, okay, it is important to evangelize, spread the good news of Jesus Christ. Um, but that's not the commandment number one. Jesus said the most important was to love God and love your neighbors. Like that was the most important. And Paul even says the greatest thing that you could do is like have charity, have love. Like that's emphasized, and it's not be ye convincing to the Gentiles or the reprobates or whatever. It's we are commissioned to make all men see what is the fellowship of the mystery. That's like the commission of the age of grace, and to be ambassadors for Christ. But being an ambassador for Christ isn't just debate. It doesn't say be ye debaters of Christ. It's ambassadors, and ambassadors sometimes they have to shake hands with people they don't like, and sometimes you just don't kill them. You don't get mad at them. You talk to them reasonably. Jesus talked to people reasonably all the time that modern Christians say like, no, you probably shouldn't be seen with those folks. Because oh yeah, because you're so much better.
Yeah, we have 10 minutes before the meeting ends. Just a
10
heads
minutes,
up.
yeah,
So
saw
I'll
that.
try to like say more stuff, and then we can maybe start a new one.
Yeah, we'll go up and find a natural point to cut and
Yeah.
begin.
So my like what I think people kind of miss in the idea of interfaith dialogue is that it's not really about the ideology. It's about the humanity. So you are looking, you're talking to your neighbor, your figurative neighbor who might not believe the same thing as you do, but you're really there to connect as a person and understand them as a person, not as a vessel of ideology. It's not like, oh man, that his ideology is so wrong, like he has to be destroyed, like ideologically destroyed. Um, and that's just not how most of the modern um, world apparently operates. They want a winner, and maybe it's
Yeah.
because of our hyper competitive society nowadays that
Mm,
that perpetuates the idea of butting heads and using your ideological strength to overcome the obvious offender and the obvious enemy.
mm.
And I just don't think that's how it works.
And I think there's like a lot of people feel the need to feed that because it's entertaining
Yeah.
and it's like gonna tickle your ears for a while and like get your blood pumping and make you want more, and then that's the cycle. I mean, that's it's a cycle at that point. It's not really like trying to make change or anything. So
Yeah.
so in this video that we did, we just destroyed each other. The end. Oh wait, no, that's not. Yeah, so like the video that we made is not about that. It's not about. I mean, it kind of is about a debate
I think
because
I think it's a commentary on the debate culture, especially religious debates.
I mean, honestly, it's a parody of a
It
debate.
it really is. Like when people hear there's a Baptist and a Buddhist talking, they hope that there's a debate going on.
It's like I hope they bring out two by fours at one point and just start chasing each other.
Because how many times? So this is my biggest criticism of those debates is that whoever, whatever it is, Baptist, Buddhist, atheist, Christian, whatever, the there is no convincing going on. Absolutely nothing. The only thing that happens is both sides are even more bolstered in their beliefs and walk away thinking, wow, like we totally won that. We actually are right.
Yeah,
And they are actually completely
mhm,
unredeemable.
both sides think that.
Yeah, both
And
sides.
you know, maybe if it's a moderated debate where like the moderator will say like this side won based off of like technicalities, the forensics of the arguments and everything, sure. On paper, someone might win, but like at the end of the day, the other person wasn't like, "You're right."
Yeah, there's no revelation, epiphany that happens in these debates most of the time. Like,
Yeah,
probably, I almost want to say 100% because I've never seen a debate, a religious debate like that, especially on YouTube, where someone walked away realizing they were wrong the whole time.
yeah. I might have seen like some debates somewhere where someone's like, you know, you made a good argument. Like, I need to research that more. But that's
Yeah,
like the probably the most I've ever seen that happen.
yeah,
So like in an alternate universe, our podcast is Baptist versus Buddhist. But not in this universe. Not in this cinematic universe of Baptist and the Buddhist. And
and you know what happens in interfaith dialogue instead of debate is that
dialogue.
both sides usually walk away with a more expanded view of the world. And sometimes, they learn about a different belief system and think, wow, that's interesting. I understand them a little more. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they even walk away thinking, wow, I actually like learned more about my own beliefs and how I relate to them.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, and a lot of times what happens is one side will walk away feeling more like energized about their practice
Yeah.
and in a
Yeah.
positive way, not a, I had to convince myself that I was right sort of way.
And even in like with our talking, like I've learned so much about where you're coming from, and it's not like it's defeated me or like made me feel bad. Like wow, I am feel way more educated, and I don't have to look like a fool next time someone asks me something about like what about Buddhism, or like, well, what do Buddhists believe? I don't know, I just know what I know. Like, oh yeah, actually, like I know about this. Like, let me tell you about it.
Yeah.
And like it really, I mean, in a dialogue like this, both parties are, you know, built up, and if nothing else, they might be more encouraged and steadfast in their faith, and like more sure, and they have more confidence
Yeah.
in finding their place in their faith.
Yeah. Like a lot of times I will walk away from conversations like this feeling more rejuvenated in my practice, uh
Hmm. And maybe
and
even like, man, I need to do better in my own practice of like it. It might not even be something we talked about, but like it's like it brings you more awareness to what you're doing. It's like, oh yeah, I gotta do this better, or like I need to work on doing this, or maybe discover a new point just from studying or talking about it. It's like, man,
and
I could do
hopefully
something.
it's a like a positive, like, not I need to, but like I want to.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like it's like, man, I opportunity is what it's called. Like
Yeah.
it's not a positive negative. It's like what went right and what's an opportunity to grow. That's what they always say in like leadership or whatever. So,
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, I'm a humongous proponent of what you might call religious literacy, just educating the general population on beliefs that are different than theirs, because
mm.
there are so many times there's been instances where someone learns I'm Buddhist and asks if I pray to Allah or Muhammad. I'm like, that is the wrong century and the wrong, like, country. And
Oh
it's like,
man.
you know, they might benefit from just a general religion education, just the bare minimum.
Hmm. Yeah, I've sat through Sunday schools where they go over like other beliefs and other like religions and everything, and like even like getting to like some of the cults of each like sect or whatever other cults there are. And you know, those are surface teaching, and I'm pretty sure some of them get some stuff wrong in those kind of lessons because they want to polarize
Mm.
and make them look really bad or something. And like, okay, well, like, yeah, this list you gave us is like a really like m- like minority sect of that religion you were just talking about. Like, they don't all wear that or like do that.
Yeah.
Trying to polarize, but yeah, yeah. And I think through our video we kind of like highlight some of like the stereotypes. It's
Yeah.
oh, it's so funny. Like how like let's do kind of a play by play like of the video because we obviously we start off with like this Baptist like doing a live video from his home church where he's restocking his Black Rifle coffee, and um he sees a stranger in the yard, and it's like, oh, right off the bat he's spewing off like, oh, he's one of them Buddhists. He's probably gonna levitate by meditating or something, like something way out there. He's praying to big belly Buddha, which like it was a phrase that I've heard in my circles, like that big belly Buddha, like
Yeah. And that that character is not even the Buddha, which is the most
exactly.
ironic part. It's
Yeah, exactly. And like you see him confront this guy, and immediately the confrontation's on. Even the Buddhist is fed into like, oh, Sky Daddy's gonna come down and strike me down.
and of course the Buddhist is an extraordinarily stereotypical, like, just barefoot hippie, long hair like me, wearing some like really outlandish clothing that you normally wouldn't wear in, Midwest America, suburbia.
Yeah. Yeah, and then technically speaking in the video, like it goes from his live video to like our
Yes.
cinematic presentation, and it turns more into kind of a, you can tell, oh, this is where it's going, because
Yeah.
we started that film with the live video look to trick you, to make you think it's real,
Yeah. And then it
and then
goes
you're captivated.
like widescreen. It's like, oh,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
highly superior production quality, but
Just she stabbed me.
oh man, that's an outtake right there. She stabbed me.
She did. I'm probably bleeding.
That's a t-shirt right there. Like Baptist and Buddhist, there's like a blood mark. And it's like, she stabbed me. And so it's like a cat, like, um, so, yeah. And so this part of the video kind of sets up like our like typical debate, which we filmed in my old church's facilities. Which, oh man, that was fun. Um, so we see a, podium debate set up, and it's like, oh, this is where this is going, and then it just kind of we spew off our rhetoric and our misquoting our religious foundations for use in winning this debate.
Yeah, using very like pithy like phrases and just
Yeah.
twisting them a little to be kind of a competitive thing. Like,
Yep.
all things are impermanent, and
Thou
your
shalt
argue
not
is
kill.
really impermanent.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, we wanted to get that like caricature of a debate to highlight the kind of the ridiculousness of its use. And, we use the Donald Trump wrong, and like, I don't believe what you believe, so I'm right. And like that was blatant in your
Yeah,
face. If
which
you didn't get that, then you should probably reevaluate yourself.
that, I'm right and you're wrong kind of thing is like what most, especially like YouTube debates that I see boil down to and devolve into. Like, we didn't even get to like name calling, but
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this and this. Oh, you are so dumb. You are such an idiot. Like,
And like the nervous laughter, like, this guy, you can't even spell your own name. Like the how? Why is that? Why is that important?
yeah.
It just doesn't like it just doesn't do any justice to their debate, to their position. And we wanted to highlight that in the most comedic way we could out of our dry humor. And then obviously, things escalate as debates usually do. And this is where people want to see debates go, with flashing anger and thunder, right?
yeah.
In that scene, Brian, what was that flashing deity that we showed?
Yeah, so I was just like enraged and crashing thunder and flashes of a wrathful deity from the Tibetan tradition. Um, you know, it's usually a wrathful deity, from my understanding, is usually used to uh,
Win debates.
to uh, like in the Tibetan tradition, you kind of transform negative mind states like anger into something better, like passion or concentration or something. So a wrathful deity is usually used to kind of visualize the overtaking of a fetter or like a hindrance or something. In this context, it was used to overcome the debate opponent. And it's, I'm using it out of the context that it is usually used in Tibetan Buddhism, because it's this scary looking raw monster, and what am I in this debate but a scary raw monster?
Thunderous noise coming out of her mouth. Yeah.
I really
Some
wanted a
behind this.
lion roar instead of just me like, ah.
Yeah.
But
We didn't have that kind of budget. Some behind the scenes thing with those scenes. That wasn't my Bible. It was some random person's Bible. So sorry for biting it.
if that was your
I bit-
Bible,
I
we're
I
sorry.
bit it because I always laughed whenever it was a different Bible that I have usually, but there's a heading where in Revelation where like John eats a scroll or something. The heading was John eats the book, and I always laughed at that. So I'm like, I will eat this book like John. And it wasn't even my Bible. I don't know whose it was. So I'm sorry, whoever owned the Bible.
I think
I didn't actually eat it. I didn't. I probably didn't even get teeth marks on it.
you couldn't even taste it. It was just like, huh.
Yep. Yeah, so that was pretty funny. At one point in our filming, one of the leadership of the church was in the building. I don't think he knew what we were doing, but he came in right as Brian was saying, "Let's take this to another realm of suffering."
Yeah, as soon as I
He
said that
walks
line,
in
like
right
heat comes
after
in.
he says that. He's like, "Oh, hey guys," and we're like, "Oh, hey."
Like if you saw the video, you know how ridiculous I looked.
Yeah.
And he just looked at me and said something to the effect of, "Every time I see you, I imagine you wear a lot of tie dye or something."
And there you are, like uh Eastern.
It was like
I don't.
A yellow Tibetan like silk shirt.
Yeah,
I'm barefoot. I have my long hair. Like I've yeah.
a Dharma wheel or whatever.
Yeah. And like my mala, just like really hippie looking.
Yep, that's forever you in his mind now. Oh man, yeah, that was funny. That was no, never mind. That was our second scene setting. Was the church? We actually filmed the ending first, but we'll get to the ending
At
last.
the end.
Oh man. So yeah, the that took place. Anything else of note for of that debate scene? Because that was like a classic debate.
I
The
loved the
classic.
juxtaposition of you standing in front of a white like screen, like a white projector screen or something, and me
Yeah.
standing in front of like all these plants.
Yeah, and you had a wooden podium. I had more of like a metal and like composite podium. Like it was very contrasting. I don't know if we actually did that on purpose. I know the podium, I'm like, oh, I'll have this one, you can have the wooden one, and like
Yeah.
the ferns and stuff and the wood
Yeah.
grain everywhere.
Yeah.
It was very yeah, it was very juxtaposing. That was
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that was on purpose. I mean,
I think
high quality.
in that podium debate scene you had like the best lines. They were just classic. Like
Thus saith the Lord.
yeah.
Thou shalt not be Buddhist. In the
That's just
bloopers, I accidentally say, Thou shalt not be Baptist. That was kind of uh, foreshadowing my life. We all knew it anyways, though, but
yeah. And then we
oh
did,
man,
you know, as I did say in the video, we took it to another realm of suffering.
we did. We suffered all the way to my basement for the next scene.
Which is where this parody skit jumped the shark really
And this is where we
intentionally.
wanted it to go.
We took that
Like,
shark and just started hopscotching or whatever,
yeah,
jump
yeah.
roping.
Yeah, initially we were gonna we were thinking of maybe planning a fight scene in like a martial arts studio, which I have access to, but no, we have too much pride for that. So we took it to our basement, to my basement, to be right outside this door, actually, whoa, behind the scenes. Um,
I borrowed your dobak
yep, yep. He borrowed my Taekwondo dobak.
because you know
That's the gi of Taekwondo.
all Buddhists know martial arts,
Yeah,
right?
Asian martial arts. Like, can't you guys do karate or whatever?
Right?
Kung Fu, I guess. I don't know. Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu.
Uh, yeah, like the Shaolin monks. You know, they're just warriors.
Yeah, exactly. Don't you guys do ninja stuff? So that played a huge part in the caricaturing of the Buddhist was taking up some Asian arts to defend his position.
Yeah, we really leaned in heavily on stereotypes of both sides.
Except for my side. Just kidding. Oh man, and then yeah, my side, the highly patriotic Baptist had, he has to have his AR-15. Um, you gotta have that the tactical vest, which all of that was old. I used to play airsoft, which is like paintball but with plastic BB guns. That was my airsoft gun. That was not a real gun. Brian was not in danger of getting shot. The
No
batteries
Buddhists
weren't
were
even
harmed in
plugged
the
in.
making of this film.
Yep, exactly. And I didn't even point it at him out of principle. I never really pointed it at him. Like if you notice, I'll point it away from him.
I did notice that. I didn't realize that was why.
Yeah, I just could not bring myself to do it, even for the sake of film. And then I think, I have not been able to find my sunglasses since filming that. I think it's probably in that vest somewhere,
Oh, probably.
possibly. So thank you for making me rewatch this because now I know possibly where it's at. Oh man, but yeah, we most of this video was ad lib. Like we did not like write a script out. We just had like, oh, we're gonna do this, this, and this. Yeah, let's go. And that's how we usually make our YouTube videos, anyways.
That's how we
Um,
made this one.
yeah, exactly. And so we like when you watch the behind the scenes or the bloopers, like that's us just making things up. Like, oh, what are we gonna do? Oh yeah, hold on, I got a good one.
Oh, what
Ooh,
if you say book of a book of from the book of AR chapter 15? Like
that was the best. And I'm so glad we got that on film too. Like the birth of that awesome joke right there. Like the book of AR, chapter 15. Oh, man, gold right there. And obviously, some scenes we didn't use because some of them were kind of crass, pretty harsh. Even though we kept one in, that was pretty funny. The two jewels.
yeah, yeah, that was just classic. That was probably the best line I had in the whole thing, really.
Yeah, and it was kind of a struggle like to get us like up to the point where like I'm being choked out because we knew we wanted the Baptist to be choked out by the Buddhist and
With my
like
mala.
and at like a stalemate like oh like and now it's just back to like dumb words like oh yeah, why don't you drink some tea, like that was the one script that we actually wrote.
That's where
I'm
I wanted it to lead up to.
Yep, exactly. So leading up to that was back and forth, like you're dumb, you're stupid, like they got to that name calling where no one's convincing anyone of anything, so let's just start hating each other. And it's just you're dumb, no, I am.
Just got to the point where nothing, like, you couldn't even
nothing
come up with a good response.
nothing made sense at that point. And really, if you pay attention to what's being said, it's like I'm like you're stupid. And then Brian says, "What? Nuh-uh, I am." And that was a slip of the tongue. That was not on purpose, but it worked so
It was
perfectly.
so dumb we kept it in.
Yeah, it was amazing. So then we did a few like takes on like how in the world is this thing gonna wrap around your neck, and we just decided that you're just gonna swing it, and all of a sudden I'm in a
Yeah.
chokehold, and then we meet for tea. We break for tea, and it was actually coffee. Sorry to
Yeah.
disappoint, guys, but it was a local coffee shop around here, that we just randomly started filming when we were having coffee in this coffee shop. It's like this is perfect. Let's start filming. And that
Yeah,
was
there's like
the
no
morning
one
of.
there.
Yeah, yeah. There's like no one behind us. Like, hey, this is perfect. And some classic. Like this was probably the most humorous scenes for us to watch, and you will probably never understand why we think it's so funny, and we don't actually understand why it's so funny when Brian
I
lifts up the
don't
cup.
know why. I don't know why it's so funny to me, but it
Yeah,
is.
when the Buddhist lifts up the cup and the music is playing, like the right notes just hit, and something about that makes
It's just
our
comedic timing
psyche
gold.
like, yeah, just makes our psyche like that is what makes us tick in humor. And no one else, you guys are probably like, oh, you guys are so weird, but I mean that's what makes us laugh right there. That's
I'll like
gold right
get
there.
to that scene if I'm showing someone it and I just start laughing and they're like, "Why? Why are you laughing? It's not that funny. Stop it."
Oh, the day we edited this together, like that was, we laughed probably for a good solid 30 minutes
I
at
was
just
in
him lifting up the cup.
hysterics. I
It
was
just
just do
I think that
I don't know why.
I think that song, like I just put it in like what kind of song can we put in? And it's one of our songs. It's called Same Day Shipping off of Mark and Brand's album, The Lost Trail. And there's actually lyrics to it that we wrote a while back, um, but like I was just like putting in random songs, like what about this one? Would this fit? Would this fit? And as soon as that cup raised and the guitar played, we knew that was it. We knew
Yeah.
that was
I literally like laid on your sofa and cried laughing for about half an hour.
yep,
I I
you
I
did.
don't think I've laughed that hard since.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll edit it in. There's no sound though, but that right there,
That's that like is the
it was.
pinnacle of humor for us for some reason. Just you guys get an inside mind to the twins here, the Baptists and the Buddhists. Like for some reason, that is the pin. Like if Hollywood comes up with anything else like that, it's impossible. They can't. Like no one, no stand up comedian can get up to that
I would
bar set
never
right
ever
there of
laugh
a
at
cup
anyone
being
like that.
raised, a cup being raised to our own music.
It's just, I can't explain it. It's one of
It's
the
been good
mysteries of
knowing
the
you,
world.
viewers and listeners. I know you're gonna probably leave us now.
Oh, they're weird.
It's like what in the world?
Unsubscribe.
They're I know I know them now.
They're
Oh
not
man.
who they say they are.
But yeah, that was gold. And you know that whole scene there boils it down like okay, that's our falling action. We're like, wait a second. What are we really here for? And we start talking. We just start talking and having this conversation. And instead of the debate, instead of guns and beads being thrown about, it's coffee, tea, being we're talking between the both of us. And that was an organic conversation that you guys saw. You couldn't hear it because the music's playing as we're talking. We're actually talking about the weather,
Yeah, we're talking about
really
cold
generic
fronts and
weather.
stuff.
Yeah, high
And
fronts and low fronts. It's
at this
crazy.
point in the video, words start appearing, and you realize you've just been tricked into watching a commercial for the podcast.
Yes, advertising. That is where our advertising funds go into. And the really funny thing is that there weren't no funds at all.
There
So
are never any funds.
no funds. I was saying fun.
Oh, yeah, it
That was
wasn't
the
fun.
advertising funds. Funds. Not funds, funds. It was fun
I mean, it
and
was
funny
the video
to me.
served two purposes: to inform you about this podcast, but also to wake you up to the idea that you can talk to someone of a different faith without wanting to murder them.
And the third purpose was because we felt like doing it and we felt like making a funny video, which we on occasion do. But yeah, again, like more seriously, like yeah, it's almost like one of our podcasts wrapped up, like the whole purpose of our podcast wrapped up in one 6 minute YouTube video.
Yeah.
So don't even bother listening to any other episodes. Just watch that over and over again.
Yeah. Put on repeat, favorite it, share it,
Yeah.
like and subscribe.
Download it legally or illegally, like through one of those weird YouTube downloading websites, if that's still a thing.
Burn it to DVDs and sell, you know, illegal copies.
Put it on USB drives and drop them on the subway or something. Yeah. So that video is going to be making the rounds, and really our that's our announcement for we're back. We're back for good until our next hiatus / season break. Because we're not that consistent, but we will with these episodes, at least for the series, as our episodes come out, we're not gonna like leave you with one episode and go dark for 6 months. So,
You never know, though.
but no promises. Oh man, but yeah, that that going back to going back to everything, like the contrasting of two different things, we will be discussing more of our beliefs and what we believe and our line of thinking with more topics. Some uh, holiday specials coming up in the mix as well. We got some cool things planned for this probably the remainder of this season because we never finished the season 2, so we're still in season 2, I'm guessing, right?
Why not?
Yeah, sure. Um, Still have a lot of great things coming out. Anything else to add on to our conversation? Um, we've hit on a lot of points.
Man, I don't know. I could, you know, go on and on about the importance of interfaith dialogue and the need for religious literacy in the world. I will, I will advertise for a pretty much a classic at this point. Stephen Prothero's book, Religious Literacy. It is an amazing resource to dip your toe into what it means to be religiously literate. And it even has a little quiz that you can take at the beginning of the book to see. Like, he asks very basic questions. What are the name one of the 5 pillars of Islam, uh, etc. Like, just really kind of like basic world religion questions. And then you can grade yourself, and then at the end you grade yourself again and see how you fare. It's just a really great resource for starting a journey on, you know, educating yourself about world religions and things that other people believe.
Yeah, even in this journey that I'm taking to look for a new church, I've been stumbling across interesting local things that right down the road that I never even thought we had, like some Quaker offshoots, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if there's any like Messianic Jews around here, which not there's not, but um, when I was in Israel, we would see those around quite a bit, the Messianic Jews. So like just even just this span of a few months of all this happening, like I've been learning a lot about other people's beliefs out there, and how they differ and how they relate. Like our intro slash commercial trailer says. So, well, I think not going to get too much more into the next upcoming episodes, but keep an eye out for that, guys. If you have any questions or comments, or if you wanted to say something on air, we will read it if it's deemed necessary slash appropriate. Baptist and Buddhist at gmail.com. Hit us up on Facebook, YouTube. We have all of our videos here. We got the Instagram. We got Twitter. Hit us up and like, subscribe, all the podcasting apps out there.
If there's anything you want us to discuss that we have not yet discussed or have previously discussed, discuss it with us.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
Just hit us up and tell us, hey, talk about this. And we will, most likely.
Yep. Exactly. And I think, Brian, I have a topic I'm gonna let you know off air that it might be kind of a heavier topic, but I want to get into some stuff. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be
Get
good.
contentious.
Yeah, you might hate me. No. Do we have a debate episode? No.
Oh, man.
Maybe not. Okay, well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us on this episode. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you next episode. This has been The Baptist
And the Buddhist.
with Mark.
And Brian.
And we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
And